Okay, this is the appointment subcommittee meeting for Wednesday, August 8th. Is today the 8th? 7th? August 7th. Oh, it's right there. And we have, in the room, we have Councillor Gomez and Hadel Patel, who is the Assistant City Auditor, and that is one of the nominations we'll be talking about today. So, did we have any minutes from the last to approve? We don't.
I think we do, but I don't remember. So we should.
We'll just move on to another one.
Yeah.
Okay. No one is here from the public for public speak. So we'll go through the mayoral appointments of Patricia Hawkins and David Jaffe. So Patricia Hawkins, I was not able to get in touch with her live, but I did talk to Tom Peake, who was the person that she said, how did she learn the vacancy? And were you able to talk to Tom at all?
No, to him. No.
Okay. Did you talk to Patricia?
I know her, but I didn't talk about that. But I know she's. I think she's going to be a good add for that committee.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, here's what Tom said: that she's a tech-savvy person. She's been very interested in the Telecom Advisory Committee since it was formed. With their most technical member having to step away to take a job, Tom feels that they're really lucky to get her on board. She has a very thorough understanding of how the internet actually works and how people interact with it, which is super valuable. So that alone is enough for me if it's coming from Tom Peake. So yes. I will make a motion to move Patricia Hawkins for the Telecom Advisory Committee with the term expiration 12/31/2021 to the full council for approval.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion passes. Okay. David Jaffe for the Manhattan Rail Trail Committee. I did talk to him. He's a huge fan of the rail trail. He's on it multiple times a day. He's lived in town for about 13 years. He grew up in Miami, but he came up here to go to Smith School for social work. Loves Easthampton. Who doesn't? Feels he loves the sections of the rail trail that have like that woodsy feel. It feels like you're out in nature. He loves that. He says the whole rail trail feels very natural to him. He's already gone to a couple of meetings of the rail trail group. He feels they're very welcoming. He would like to see a little bit more diversity on the committees that we have. I totally agree. But he is very, very interested in helping out with the rail trail, and I know he's already attended some meetings, and so.
You say he's a resident of Easthampton?
Yep, for 13 years. Yep. He's been all over New England since the mid-'80s, but in Easthampton since whatever the math is. You're the auditor. 13 years. So. So yeah, so he doesn't even want to go back to Miami. So there you go. So we got that all going on. Okay. Any other questions? Any thoughts from you? Okay. Motion to, I'll make a motion to move David Jaffe of the Manhattan Rail Trail Committee with a term expiration 12/31/2021 to the full council for their review and approval.
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
Sorry, I'm making those two at the same time. So.
Well, that's fine. Okay, now it's going to get really difficult. We also have, like I mentioned, we have both Val Bernier and Hadel Patel up for reappointment. This is one of the appointments that the city council makes for a certain number of positions in the city. The city auditor is one of them. So both Val and Hadel have term expiration of September 1, 2022. So this is a 3-year. Is it 2 year?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
3. Yeah.
Okay. A 3-year.
Expiration term.
What?
Yeah, the 3-year
Yeah.
term.
I mean, it says 2022. I was trying to do the math.
Well, you say 2022?
Yeah.
Mine say 2021.
That's the other
But
one.
that's the right one. Oh, this is the last one. I'm sorry. You're right.
Okay.
You steal my papers.
Oh, right, those are yours.
That's fine.
Sorry. So really, we just, for these kinds of appointments, we like to have the folks come in just so we can talk to them. I think HR is another, do we do, Jane second, we do the attorney.
I do the attorney.
So we just like to have them come in so we can, say hi and get to meet you, because otherwise we don't really get a lot of opportunity to talk to the auditing group. So that's good. And then just to ask a couple of questions just for us to get to know what you do as we make the appointment. So did you have anything to start with?
You can start.
Okay, and you'll
if I
jump in.
Yes, please.
So
Thank you.
if you would be so kind as to just really explain what the auditor position does for the city.
Overall, our department makes sure that all the rules and laws have been followed with reference to finances, city finances. And between me and Valerie, we make sure that books of accounts for the cities is up to date and meets the standard. We report to DOR. We also report to Bureau of Accounts. Different aspects goes into to generate the final report. So my job particularly at this point, I do a lot of AP work where I pay all the bills.
Okay.
I have to make sure that we are not paying or reimbursing anybody taxes because we are tax exempt. Nobody's getting paid for alcohol purchase from taxpayers' money, tobacco purchase. There are so many things which we have to consider as per the law. So that's my job to make sure. And of course, Val, who's the city auditor, she is the one who approves everything what I do. And I also help her with keeping up with the internal controls. So we have one of the best internal controls among all the cities, and everybody's asking for that, how to make it work.
Really?
And we don't want to get rid of that ever. And that's the purchase order system.
Is it an automated system?
No, it's not. It's a form which all department fills out. It goes to, from there, the new policy is if it's over $10,000, it goes to mayor's office. If it's below $10,000, it goes to our procurement officer, who's Michael Owens. If it's under 10, it directly goes to Mike, who's the, as I said, he's the procurement officer. He checks everything, whether we are meeting 32B requirements or not.
And what's a 32B?
It's procurement-related law, master
okay.
law.
About what you can
Buy and what you need to,
Okay.
if you need to go for a bidding, if it's over certain threshold, you have to go 3 bidding or 5 bidding.
Oh,
and
okay.
There are different tiers in it, and he's the one who is our, usually procurement officer.
And do they have to meet, do even the bids that you put out have to go to vendors that meet certain criteria, whether that, I'm making this up, but whether that be union, whether that be local, do you have to follow certain criteria or just 3 vendors?
It's just, bid goes out in the newspaper, and whoever puts that bid
Whoever just responds. Okay.
And then we go, whoever is the lowest and reasonable and responsible buyer. In that case, seller, because we'll be buyer.
Yeah.
And then we shouldn't go with those bids.
And do you always go with the lowest bid?
That's something, I think it's a tricky question because sometimes lowest bid can come with cheaper quality.
Right.
So that's why I said responsible.
Yep. And is that what
Yes.
Michael does? He evaluates all of that?
Yes, he evaluates everything. It comes back to me. My job is to make sure that every fund has the balance.
Okay.
So our department, if our budget is $3,000 and I'm asking for purchase order to put in for $3,500, down the road we know for sure $500 is going to be in deficit. And I won't let that go. It's one of those things where, reduce other PO, you can't encumber this.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to be in the budget. There's no point that it's going to go in negative. And that's how the whole process starts with putting all the purchase order in the system, making sure all the signatures are on there, amount is there in the budget, and then putting it in the system, and green sheet goes out, and then they submit all the paperwork related to invoices for the payment and process the payment.
Well, So, since this is such a great system, did it change from how it was prior, or has it always been 10,000 goes to the mayor, less than 10,000 goes to the procurement manager?
That has been changed with the new policy implementation, procurement policy implementation.
And when did that go into?
I would say about a year ago, year and a half ago. Everything used to go to mayor's office before.
Oh,
And then...
was there a
even like-
bottleneck for that?
Yeah, it's like, even $5 stuff would go to mayor's office.
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah.
electricity, we know that there are certain areas where you are talking 30,000 plus, you're
Mhm.
talking almost $8,000, but it's electricity. You can't control those. It's there. No matter if electric company decides to shoot up the prices,
Yeah.
You still need
There's
to
nothing you can
to do
control.
that, right? And that's where, then things changed. Michael came on board and, as an improvement. And it's easier. I mean, not easier, but if there is a need, then yes, we can always go and ask Mayor that, okay, what do we do in this
Right,
case? And
right.
that's perfectly fine. If
But it
there
gives
is-
you guys the authority to move on things that are
Yeah,
less prioritized, if you will.
yeah.
And so things, I would imagine, get done quicker
Yes.
in that sense.
Yeah.
And this is actually fascinating. I had no idea. So now you're just going to be here all day. So do you then have to report back to the state on is there some kind of audit report that you have to provide that shows that we are meeting all of the criteria, or do they just come and say you're not? Like how does that work?
See, as I said, I do the AP side, Val does the revenue side.
Okay.
I'm not 100% good at that because I haven't did that piece yet. But I do my side, she does her side.
Mhm.
When we close the books, auditor comes in
Okay.
and they do audit. By law, they are mandated to whatever management reports they are producing for a city after the audit.
Yep.
Or if there's any findings, we don't have any findings so far. So then they are, by law, they have to send copy to state, DOR, and they send it to them. On our side, we do tax recap, we do it's a tax recap, we do Schedule A and balance sheets and everything, which goes to Bureau of Accounts, and they submit, and that's how we get our free cash certified.
Oh, okay.
So those are, the bases are making sure that we're doing the booking expenses at the right place, revenue at the right place, and reporting to the reporting system to Bureau of Accounts, and they certify our free cash. And then the cycle starts again with tax recap and with the budget and all that.
Would you view your area as kind of a check and balance on the financial director and her, or are you guys aligned? Like, is the financial director and the work that person does are you part of the same department?
No, we are not. Oh, by law, we cannot be the same department
Okay.
because we do not touch cash.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there is a fine line. It's a dual control by Bureau of Accounts that any person who touches cash should not be touching the books.
Okay. So it is kind of a check and balance.
Check and balance on
There's
both
a
sides.
wall.
Yes, there is a wall, but the work flows from their department to our department, but we are not in the same department.
Yeah, and you're not.
No,
Yeah.
there is a very clear line that you can't come here, we can't go there.
Okay.
And there is no way, because it's, again, if I'm handling the bank account as well as I'm handling the books, there are more chances, not that I will do it ever, but
Right. I mean, things could go belly up.
Yes, and it did happen in a few communities, and one is the Hatfield where it happened.
Oh, really?
In the past, yes, it did happen in the past. So, it's a good practice, and it's a law anyway, so there's no
I
way.
will tell you a funny story, not a funny story, but an interesting story. Did you have any questions?
Since when you are working with us?
It's been 3 years.
3 years.
Yes, May 10th of 2016. Yeah.
I think you covered yourself.
Yeah, I got luck, literally. I applied for some other position. They liked me. They called me in for interview and they selected me.
Nice.
Yeah, perfect.
What's your background?
I came from India 12 years ago after I got married. I'm a U.S. citizen, Indian U.S. citizen, and I started with bank, got 4 promotion in 5 years. Then with 2 little kids, I moved closer to home and I worked for Tri-County schools. Then they restructured, so I got laid off. So I've been to Easthampton to work for International Education Service. It's CIS, Central, I forgot the name of it, but CIS, International Studies, Center for International Studies. And then I came here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Great.
And I did, in India, when I was there, I did Master's in Business Economics with finance specialization. So,
Where did you live in India?
central part of India.
Okay.
It's in Indore is the name of the place.
Okay.
It's the central part of India.
My
It's a
company.
Master in Business Economic.
Yes, Master in Business Economics with finance specialization.
I actually have a finance degree too, isn't that frightening? But my company has a lot of offices in India, and we have an office in Gurgaon. I don't know how close that is. That's either north or south, I have no idea. And then we have another one in up by Delhi.
Then
I can't recall what it is at the moment. Hyderabad.
Hyderabad, yes. Yes.
So we've got, and there's probably 2 more that we have. I was hoping to get out there, but not looking like it's going to work. But so here's my funny story. Unless you have any more questions, I'm good with my questions. So when you were saying that there has been violations of, like the financial component. So there's a it's a documentary. It might be on Netflix or something, but it's about a small town in Illinois, which is where I'm from, which makes it even funnier. I think it's Dixon, Illinois, which is where Reagan was born, President Reagan. And this documentary is about a very small town, not much bigger than this, where, and I don't know if it was a finance person or an auditor or whatever, but they did the same job, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So they suddenly found themselves millions of dollars in the hole, and they couldn't figure out how that happened. And then when they started to figure it out, they saw that she would take receipts for money, I guess, or the whatever, go to the bank, make a deposit, and keep a little for herself.
Yeah.
And over time, and she had horses, she had this big farm, and the people were like, how do you have that working for the city? Oh, well. And then they finally caught her, she's in jail. But it went on for like 2 or 3 years,
Yeah.
because there wasn't, which is why I asked, because there wasn't anyone minding the hen house. It was just her.
Yeah.
And everybody, and then they're like, and even the mayor, although he wasn't the mayor, he was the town manager. And he was like, we were doing great. We had a surplus, and then suddenly I couldn't get a street paved. He goes, I don't know what happened to it. So, I can't even remember what the name of it is. But it's fascinating. It's fascinating because of how it can happen.
Yes.
It can happen, yeah.
Even in a small town, probably especially in a small town. So that's why I was happy to see that there is a very firm wall
Yes.
between those 2 sides of the
Yes.
house. So that's
We
great.
have a good group here, especially with tax collector. Melissa left, but Michael and Anne Marie, they're trying to, work it out and make sure that things are going. Everybody has this really good work ethics, I call. It's that they want to get things right. They just want to do it because it's their job and they're getting paid. They really want to get things right.
Yeah.
And it's just when you see everybody on the same level, especially with the finance, it can be 100% clear, but as long as it's clear, there are exceptions to rules, but that doesn't mean that it goes completely on the black side.
Right. Right.
But and then when there are exceptions, everybody's on board. It's not like one person making the
You don't
final
finger
decision.
point and
Yes.
it's like we're all
Yes.
gonna fix this together. That's
Yes.
great.
That's good.
That's really great.
And education helps us a lot because I've been going to Auditors Association it happens every March for 3 days at UMass, and I've been attending those conferences. There is an exam which nobody passes in the first shot, and I was not the exception. But But here's the thing, that I passed the practical, the toughest one, the first time,
Oh, really?
You need
Does
to
that
ask
count, like-
every March.
every month.
You don't have to take the whole thing over then, just
No,
the
but
part
I
you
have
did
3
pass.
years
Okay.
to carry the credit forward.
Oh, I see.
So I have
Okay.
3 years to pass my legal
Yeah.
now. But I'll do it. This year is my goal, that March 2020.
Great.
Yes.
Oh, good for you. Well,
And then
good luck
I'll be
with that.
certified too.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's great. Well, this has been really helpful. I'm not sure I'll be able to repeat it to the city council. Are you coming to city council by any chance?
No, I'm not. Do I suppose?
Do we need her to be?
If
I mean,
you-
I don't know if I can
yeah.
represent this, but I'll try.
I mean, she don't need it, but in case someone, any of the
Has
city council have
questions,
another
yeah.
question that we didn't cover here, would be good if she was there so that way she can answer.
Yeah,
Could be that no one asks.
right.
But
And Val is not available tonight,
No,
right?
she issued.
She do a half day, yeah.
Yes. It's her anniversary, so.
I would really force the issue, except I know tonight's going to be a really long city council meeting, and we're not going to get to this for a long time tonight, I have a feeling. Although, maybe it won't.
or you can.
And we can't really
You can
pass
talk
it
to the
till
president.
September
And,
1st.
yes, but you can talk to the president to change the agenda and appointment be the first one report.
Do you need to go home immediately?
No, it's, I can wait.
Before the public hearing.
Maybe just stay till 6:15?
6:15.
And we'll try to move this first. I'll ask Dan Riss to have this be the first point of business. And then if anyone has questions, you can answer them.
Yeah.
You are very capable of answering all the questions
Yes,
clearly.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, so.
something else.
But it's just in case, probably.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, if nobody has questions, you can go.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, so, thank you for that. I will make a motion right now to move Valerie Bernier, is that Bernier or Bernier? Bernier. Bernier is the city auditor with an expiration of September 1st, 2022, and Hadel Patel, assistant city auditor, with the same expiration date, to the full city council for their review and approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. So now, well, now you gotta get through, no, not necessarily. City council has to approve it, which is why we need you there just to answer their
Answer their
questions.
questions.
This is just our recommendation to the city council.
Yep.
And usually the city council, the full city council,
Takes care of it.
follow the recommendation from the committees.
Okay.
So again, probably no one's going to ask questions because they going to listen what the chairwoman from the committee is going to say.
And if you have anything to add, because you took better notes than
Yes,
I did.
I think it,
Yeah,
I feel.
yeah. But yeah, so, it's unlikely, but then you never know.
Yes, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
so, well, thank you for that. And we'll definitely get you out of there by 6:15 at the latest.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, just FYI, is it on our agenda? Do we still have the agenda item about, about the changing of the form? So we can't talk about it, but,
Yes, I think so. Discussion.
yes, so I'm gonna have that removed from the agenda without prejudice today. Because we never talk about it. There's nothing else I want to talk about on that, and I don't feel like changing the forms anymore.
What was the motion?
I know, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to make a motion.
There.
Do you want to do it right now? Okay, I'll make a motion. I'm not sure I need to, but I'm going to do
Just
it
in
anyway.
case.
Make a motion to remove without prejudice the appointment process proposed change agenda item.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so I'm going to remove that without prejudice from the main city council thing. Just because it's sitting there, it actually has a July date. We didn't extend it, and it's taking up a lot of space. Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.